this. Moderators. Okay. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Today is my very busy day, but I got to put on some makeup for my very busy day. So we're going to start off with some, well, I did my moisturizer already loosed up. This is the silicone-free priming moisturizer by Good Molecules. Love this stuff. It's just this consistency. It is gonna be freaking 65 degrees today here, which is crazy. Crazy awesome. I love it. I love me some warm weather. Normally, just for reference, it's the middle of February. It could be anywhere from like 15 degrees. Typically, I mean, that's really cold. It's rarely 15 here, but really, I'd say average mid-20s in February, mid-20s to 40 usually. And it is 65, so you can imagine my delight. It's been a very mild winter, which is good. Let that kind of soak in. Oh, I know, while we're letting that dry, let's do a little JC talk. And say hello. Say hello in the comments. I don't even know what day it is. Oh yeah, yesterday was Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine's? Did you do anything? Did you feel loved yesterday by everybody, anybody in your life? Well, let's talk a little about JC's love. Come to me with all your weaknesses, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Rest in the comfort of my presence, remembering that nothing is impossible with me. Pry your mind away from your problems so you can focus your attention on me. Recall that I am able to do immeasurably more than all you ask or imagine. So remember we were talking about the other day, like when you pray, it's okay to ask for things. Like he wants us to ask for things and big things, not materialistic, shallow things. But when you have big prayers, that's okay. That's very like expected from him. And he's saying he can do more than you can even imagine. So always give your problems to him. Instead of trying to direct me to do this and that, ooh, okay, JC, seek to attune yourself to what I am already doing. And read that again. Instead of trying to direct me to do this and that, seek to attune yourself to what I am already doing. And this is interesting. So recently, a little story time. I had this experience with praying recently, which was kind of like almost freaky because I am a big believer in prayer, but I was really hoping for this thing for our family. I'm not going to go into details yet. I'll eventually announce it. But, and I was like really excited and I just felt like I know this is going to happen. I know it's supposed to happen. There was like no question in my mind. And then we got news that it was not happening. And I'm like, but I feel it and I felt like I knew it was God's plan for us, right? I don't know how, I don't know. I just, often I get those feelings. I'm just very confident and certain when I get these feelings. So I prayed to him and I said, it's interesting because I didn't realize I wasn't really asking him for it anymore. I was just like, God, I know this is meant for us. I know this is part of your plan. Maybe it's not now, I guess, which I was hoping for, but I asked him to give me a sign. I said, can you just give me a sign so I can feel settled, knowing that it is happening at some point. I don't need to know the details, but I feel unsettled. And because I feel like I know this is supposed to happen, like I know you want this for us for whatever reason. So can you give me a sign? So it's interesting because like this mentions, it's not that I was seeking it. It was that I knew he was already doing it, and then I asked for a sign. So right when I asked that, I don't know if I told this story. I don't think I did. I was sitting somewhere, and I was reading a book. It was like Joanna Gaines, her life story book or whatever she just released recently. So I was reading this Joanna Gaines book, and I said, I just want a sign, right? And so I just flip my book open like this. I just flip it open, and it wasn't a marked page or anything. And the title of the chapter is Look Up. And I was like, is that my sign? Look up? Okay, like, look up to God, pray. Like, and I literally, I'm like, let me physically, I look up, and there was a cross with Jesus hanging right, like I hadn't even seen this cross with Jesus literally hanging above my head. I pray, I flip to a page, it says look up, I look up, there's JC on the cross, and I was like, okay, I see you, God, I see you, okay. So then I was like, well, I trust it's happening. I feel like that was my sign. He's like, comfort, but I'm a stubborn Taurus, so I prayed. I was like, I really feel like it's supposed to happen in the next year. Poor God. He's probably so sick of my like, please show me another sign. And he probably doesn't always give us them. But I was like, I just feel like I know it's supposed to happen in this year. And I'm feeling unsettled. And I'm your annoying daughter. So let me know. So that was like a week later. I was praying that prayer. And then I got an email. From this situation that's hard to explain, but I will eventually come out with it. But so I get an email, and I had said to this person, because they said this isn't happening for you, like it's just not, like the odds are very, very low, and basically like, you know, sorry, we can't do that at this time, we can't do it. And I was like, okay. So I had written to them, I said, well, I'm going to keep on praying. That was my response, because I just felt like it can happen, and God performs miracles every day. So I was like, all right, I guess I need to pray. Keep praying. And so they wrote back and they said, well, it must be the power of prayer, because we can do this. And it was a week later. It wasn't like months and months or years went by, which it just, there was my sign. It wasn't even a sign at this point now. It's like, this is happening for us. This is happening. And I'm like, it truly seems like a miracle. So I believe in the power of prayer, but I really believe the power of faith goes even further. It's like faith knowing, like, I trust God's plan, and I feel like this is going to happen. I'm very impatient. I like to know things, so I annoy God sometimes with that. But it's not just the power of praying and, like he's saying, seeking. It's also that prayer of like, look, God, I know you have the best plan in mind for me. Could you help a girl out here and just give me some signs, or like make me feel certain, make me feel more confident that what's best for me is going to happen? Because as humans, like, sometimes it's hard to feel that on a human level. Like, we can say, yeah, I have faith in God, I have faith in the bigger plan, right? I feel like a lot of us say that. I know I did bunny-eared it. A lot of us say that, but when it comes to feeling that in our daily activities or not having doubts, like, it's hard. So a prayer I often say is, God, help me feel my faith throughout the day. Because I know I have faith. I know deep down it's in there, but it's more like, help me actually feel that and live my life as if I were truly feeling it and believing it, like, consistently throughout the day. Because that's one of the, I think, the hardest things for humans is to have faith, not have faith, but really truly feel it and live like you have it when we don't get what we think is, don't get what we think is going to happen, or when crap happens, bad things happen all the time, and that can shake you where you're like, okay, I have faith in God. Like when my dad had cancer, it was, talk about testing your faith. I'm like, I'm 25 years old and I'm going to lose my dad. I can't tell you that how bad my faith was tested, but I never lost it. But it was hard to feel during the day when I'm watching my dad deteriorate in the hospital, when I'm imagining getting married and he's not going to be there, when I'm imagining having a child and he's not going to experience that joy that grandparents experience, So it was really hard, and I had some words with God. We weren't in the best spot we've ever been. I didn't understand. I understand now more. It's my dad, by the way, is, if you haven't followed me, for 10 years or whatever, he has been in remission for years. He is a miracle. Talk about a godly miracle. Part of that experience for me was I hands down believe in miracle and the power of prayer and the power of faith. My dad went from like, you have 2 months to live, you have a wiffle ball sized brain tumor, to, and it was melanoma that started in the brain, very aggressive, stage 4, to now how long has it been? It's like, I swear I blocked those years. It was a long time, because that was like the initial time, but then it kept coming back and whatever. So it was several years there that were really hard. But I was 25. I'm 42 now. You do the math. I hate mathing. I don't like adulting or mathing. So here he is, and it's not like, they said if he did even survive the surgery, he might not be able to speak at all. He might have problems with mobility. It was a miracle. Like, there were literally doctors and nurses in there like, this is a miracle. And I believe I had tons of churches praying. My mom had churches praying. They're divorced, by the way, but she had her church and other churches praying. I'm very social. Whoa, almost fell. I'm very social and whatever, and I share a lot, and I shared it, and I asked people to please pray. My dad developed a faith he didn't have before that time, where he turned to God during that time, right? And seeing that absolute miracle. And then when he was close to death, this treatment came out in a clinical trial, and he had moved from here to Florida, and like 6 months before he got sick. And I remember thinking, like, this sucks. He could have been with the best doctors up here, because we're in the DC area, right? So DC, New York, whatever, when you're near big cities, they tend to have like some good hospitals and doctors. And I was like, he was so bad off. I'm like, we could really bring him here, and his wife was down there. So it was like, I remember thinking, like, this is crappy, because he could have been up here with us, around his kids, at good hospitals, He ended up getting an amazing brain surgeon the first time. And then, crazily enough, there was only a few places, I think 3 places, that were doing this clinical trial. And when they were like, this is it. Like, these treatments aren't working. Stuff's not working on him. He was going downtown Julie Brown. And there was, like, one of his doctor's friends called him and said, you have this patient with melanoma, right? I think he might be eligible for this clinical trial that is like an hour from you guys. So he's like, okay, let's see. He was eligible. He did the clinical trial, right? It started working. He was done the clinical trial. 6 months later, it was still working, still shrinking the tumors. A year later, still shrinking them. That treatment is now what they use to treat melanoma. It's like the most common treatment, right? And he was in it. Like, the whole thing is just crazy. So anyway, all that to say, I think faith, like, yes, it's great to pray, and like God's saying, to seek him, and he wants you to seek help from him. But it's even more important to have the faith behind it. That's what I think. All that to tell you, keep the faith, gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. Ooh, I danced to that song. Do you remember George Michael? It was my friend. Me and my friend did a dance to Gotta Have Faith by George Michael at summer camp. They have like a talent show. Gotta have faith, the faith. Ooh, I gotta have faith, the faith. I remember that kid was like 6 foot, and we were probably like 10 years old. Anyway, let's finish up here. So what God's already doing, also having gratitude all wrapped up. When anxiety attempts to wedge its way into your thoughts, remind yourself, I am your shepherd. You have a shepherd. Isn't that cool news? You're a sheep. The bottom line is that I am taking care of you. Therefore, you don't need to be afraid of anything. Easier said than done. Rather than trying to maintain control over your life, abandon yourself to my will. Though this may feel frightening, even dangerous, the safest place, turn off this little side light here, the safest place to be is in my will. So yes, it is scary to give up control. It's one of the scariest for humans, especially for like control freaks like myself, maybe. Like there are certain personalities that are a little more controlling. I think usually that comes from anxiety. Anxiety runs in my family. Do I take any medicine for it? No. Should I? Maybe, sometimes. But anxiety can cause people to have even more control. I mean, we all want a little control, I think. But anxiety can make us focus on it a lot more, right? So I think it's all a desire, like, oh, I wish I knew the outcome of this. I wish I could make this person understand me. That was one of my things when I feel misunderstood. That's like a trigger for me. I'm like, oh my gosh, this person thinks that's not what I meant, or that's not who I am, you know, that sort of thing. That can trigger me of like, because I know who I am, right? And it's like, I don't know, that's just something. So we all have our little triggers that can trigger anxiety. But one thing I learned even with that is like, give it to God. I'm like, you know what? If this person is meant to understand me, they're going to. If this person is for me and they're on my team, they're going to believe my words. They're going to stop and be like, yeah, of course she didn't mean it. I mean, this is more earlier in my 20s. I'm very, direct. And sometimes I feel like when I'm direct, people can misunderstand that for like coldness or something. And I've worked on it, so I've gotten better, but still not perfect on it. And like even something like that, I'd be like, oh, they took that the wrong way, you know? And I'd even say sorry, and sometimes people just like, you know? And I've learned to give it to God and to believe like, if these people are meant to see me or be in my life, they will be, and let it go. That's hard when it's like your family. That can be really tough, right? So there's some days I still struggle with that. Just like we're not going to get into Christy's whole life. I'm not going to lay on the couch and lay it out for you guys today. But the safest place to be is in his will. Okay, now we'll do makeup. What time is it? 18 minutes, so I probably don't have too much time. I have 3 back-to-back calls today. Wednesdays are my busiest work days. 3 back-to-back calls plus my other work. All the work. I do a lot of work. I do a lot of stuff. I love it. And part of that, I just poked my eye with my brush. Like it lifted my eyelid and this sack of bananas went in there. Part of the thing that's coming next here. Good morning. How are you? How was your Valentine's Day? Did you do anything romantic with your wife? There we go. A little powder today. Let's do a little powder. I forget what I was saying, but I'm sure it was really important. Just kidding. I'm just gonna blend a little blender. I'm not even doing foundation. I feel like I should have done foundation. I'm gonna do it over my powder. Rules schmules. Because I have a lot of calls, I wanna look gangsta. iPhone 14. Ooh, look at you. Romantic. Just kidding. That's awesome. How is it? How's the camera? How is it? Is there something, what's like different? Is there anything new and improved about it other than like the typical stuff? Yeah, my husband and we had a date night Saturday night, and then last night I have not been feeling good. I don't know why. I don't know. I must say like I got food poisoning or something this weekend, and it's like lingering. I don't know. It might just be it's probably a bug. You know, when you have kids, they bring in nasty stuff. And Cora's best friend was out for a week with a stomach thing, so maybe Cora just didn't really get it and was a carrier. Lucky me. But my stomach's been just off. Not like horrible. Like one day was pretty bad, and then it's just kind of like teetering where you're just like nauseous, but not sick. So like I can still kind of function. I said to Cora, I'm like, mommies are super women. Camera's really good. Yes, yeah, I never, well, anymore, we don't go out on Valentine's Day because it's just too crazy. And it's like, it's just crazy. Too much. I used to always go out on the actual day. But no mas. So Saturday night, we actually picked up food and brought it back here. Mexican, we had Mexican too. Go. We had Mexican too. It's my favorite. Can you tell me what time it is, love? If I call you love, you'll do it for me. Just because I have a call right at 9. So I want to make sure. I think it might be cutting it close. I'm just going to put mascara on just in case. I don't have time for eyeliner. If I do, I'll go back and do it. Mascara is a necessity. Eyeliner, no. I know you're 42. Okay, yeah, 15 minutes. Woo! So, this girl can preach, especially when she's talking about the big G-O-D. What did you get? Did you get fajitas? I always get tacos. They have like the most delicious chicken tacos. I'm just a sucker for tacos. And this place is my favorite. It's called Uncle Julio's Rio Grande. It's weird because growing up, I don't know, like when I was 20 and after, we used to call it Rio Grande, and now everyone calls it Uncle Julio's. I don't know why. But it's really good. They have really delicious food. But I'm a sucker for their tacos, and their chips and salsa are really good. Do you like spicy food? You probably do. Pollo plate. Nice. Get that chicken on. Okay. What else? I need a lippy. And then I got a dippy. Ooh. Well. Okay, there's my face. Do a little blush. Blush is done. Should we do a reddish lip today? Yeah. Keep the Valentine's thing going. It's like what's called? Chunkiest chili. It's got like an orangish undertone. Not like that red for Valentine's Day, and then I'm gonna put, my hair is a mess. I'm so glad I'm getting it done next week. I'm gonna cut it a little bit, not too much. I'm kind of liking it long. But when it's too long like this, it can get like weighed down. But I have this hair oil. This is O&M Frizzy Logic Shine Serum. Do that. Just a little oil goes a long way, especially on fine hair. I can't believe I haven't done my nails yet. I hate taking off nail polish. It's just a thing. It's really annoying. So I usually don't do it. Then one day I just pick it to death and it comes off and it's small enough. That's really bad. My friend was like the other day, she's like, please get your nail polish off. I'm like, do it for me. All right, I'm gonna go get ready for my call. Good to see you. Glad you had a nice Valentine's Day. Congrats on the new phone. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Smooches and deuces. Bye.